Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pylon Show. This is episode number 65. I, of course, am your host, Artosis, and we've got a very cool show today. First, let me go ahead and talk about our sponsors real quick, and then we will get into it a bit. Of course, first off, AFKT, they've been with us a long time. Hope to see them back again soon. We also have matcherino.com/The Pylon Show. You can go ahead and use the code word this week. It's lobster. It's probably National Lobster Day or Week or something like that.
National Lobster Day, that's correct.
Lobster Day, excellent. So yeah, make sure you go and type that in to the contribute button, and that will help us out a lot. We also have some Pylon swag down there, an amazing mug that I drink coffee out of once a week. Yeah, go get it. Also, of course, if you want to support the Pylon Show, the best way to do it is at patreon.com/The Pylon Show. Thank you so much to everyone who helps out there. This is how we are able to keep the show running and continue to bring you some great content. So thank you much. If you would like to ask us Q&A questions, you just go ahead and sign up on the Patreon and go to thepylonshow.com. Where up at the top, we have the Patreon Q&A where you can submit your questions that we will answer at the end of the show. No matter what you ask, we will go ahead and answer that. Also, we do have a beta up of our forums. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, you can also check that out and do a little testing with that. So definitely check that out as well. And of course, if you need the VODs, the show notes, anything like that, that is all on thepylonshow.com. Okay, so let's talk about this show right now. Let's take a look at our guests. Rapid, you're back. Longtime friend here and caster of the Starcrafts, both of them 1 and 2. How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing fantastically. Normally this is a little bit early to wake up. Not too early, in case you were wondering, but it's actually okay for me because I was casting STPL at 4 a.m. this morning. That was my cup of coffee, but with Starcraft. And now I'm here for the Pylon Show. So thanks for having me on, Dan.
Well, I always do appreciate casters willing to wake up at the wee hours of the morning for me that live in Korea. So thank you. Thank you for that.
I got you.
Yeah. And then we have LaughNgamez, someone that we bring up all the time during This Week in Starcraft. How are you doing today, LaughNgamez?
I'm doing just great. Turns out if you post enough on the Pylon Show, eventually they'll bring you on. So that's pretty awesome.
They'll have you on, yeah. I wonder if someone could make like a fake tournament series, and I just don't even know because it's like, and eventually I just bring them on. They're like, yeah, I don't actually cast all. I've never done it.
My theory is that's what the Pizza Pie Weekly has been this whole time.
They're an important part of the show as well. We'll talk more about the Pizza Pie bi-weekly in just a few moments. And then we have SugarSC2. How are you doing, man?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm very honored to be on the show.
Yep.
Been a big fan for a while now.
Thank you much. Thank you much. He's involved with both Alpha X and the NA Apprentice. So in case you haven't figured it out yet, this episode is about some of these smaller online tournaments that go down that are actually a big part of the community. If you've been watching the Pylon Show, you hear about stuff that these three are doing all the time. So we wanted to, talk about that a little bit and how that's going for everyone. And we'll also do some big intros for these guys to tell their stories so everyone gets to know them a little bit better. But first, This Week in Starcraft. All right. Everyone's favorite part of the show. Let's do it. This Week in Starcraft, of course, is all within our show notes. And our show notes are everywhere. Every episode gets saved. You want to look at the show notes? Go to thepylonshow.com. They're also linked everywhere. If you look at the podcast, if you're watching live, you can use the command show notes in the Twitch chat. You can check it out on YouTube, and it'll be linked in the description there as well. So anything I'm talking about, if you're interested, if something catches your ear, you want to know more, we have a wonderfully curated list of everything made by Alessandra and Cobra. So definitely check that out. So let's get into it. This Week in Starcraft. All right, OSC Melee. It looks like Eric took down Starkiller 3-1. The prize pool is worth 3 pizzas? Damn, imagine if Starkiller won that.
That's more than 1 pizza.
Yeah.
Eric just won 3 pizzas all at once. Now, does this go towards the actual pizza count? We'll find that out momentarily when we get down to the Pizza Pie Bi-Weekly. But congrats to Eric for yet another tournament win. And Starkiller, so close, so close. All right, the Huracan Legacy Weekly Japan number 186 Open. RAPiDCasting beat Cyark 2-0 in the finals. Isn't he a giant bear without fingers?
he
Must
is
play Protoss. Ah!
That is. Yeah. Also, just want to give a kind of a cool shout out to Rilakuma, because he's like the Japanese Starcraft scene is still kind of like fledgling, and this is like the main tournament for over there. And Cyark is like the name most people know as being from Japan, because he qualified for like a IEM one time, or I think it was IEM, something like that. But Rilakuma is kind of coming up. He's beating. It used to be Cyark and Vice Ravana who would just win every single tournament, kind of like Special and Kelazur did. But now we've got Rilakuma and this guy Notakon. It's like actually starting to beat all the best Japanese players. So really cool, kind of developing smaller scene. Yeah,
very cool. Thank you much. Yeah, if you guys want to check that out, it is over on sc2jpwiki.com. I guess that is their Starcraft 2 Wikipedia.
Yeah, and you can follow them on Twitter at LegacyWeeklyJP. So
that's why I have these guys on. These are the guys that are the meats and bones of the Starcraft 2 scene. Thank you, Rapid. All right, the Blazing Series Reality Season 1. Looks like Nice, Rex, Gogo Joey, and Silky all went through the qualifier stage and made it through, winning some nice money. You can check that out on africatv.com/AFTWSC2. Liga Cubana de Starcraft 2. Yoyi beat Ryder 3-2 in the finals. Of course, this is tournament number 4 for the Cuban community. You can check it out on Liquipedia if you want to get involved. The Sentimiento Latino tournament. We had Ryu beat Terran 3-1 in the finals. I feel like it's deja vu. I think I've said those exact words before. But yeah,
this is all pre-recorded.
Yeah,
play the same clip every week.
But yeah, check that out if you are from the Latin American area and you are not Cham, Kelazur, or Special. Number 71 plays in just a couple days. All right, the Imba Force League, a Peruvian league, is going forward. If you are really top end in Peru, like Ryu, you don't get to play in it. Number 6 plays Sunday. Yeah, if you're Peruvian, check that out. WESG continues forward. Brunei was won by Fidshell. Mr. Robot won Laos. Ranger won Malaysia. Pegasus won Myanmar. Ender won Philippines. Strike won Thailand. And Vietnam is going to play this upcoming weekend. We also have the China regional qualifiers going on. Silky winning the Eastern. We have Donron and Daydreamer winning the Northern. The Southern, it looks like we don't have the Southern or Western done yet. And Cyan, I guess, is qualified as well. We will try to keep track of that and let you guys know how the Chinese qualifier for WESG is going, as well as the other ones when they start up. All right, the Chinese Team League Championship League for 2019 does continue forward. It's every night through October 3rd, and they are going to have the offline playoff in Shanghai between October 10th and 13th. You can check this all out over on Wardy's channel, and definitely a worthwhile tournament. Tons of top-end players playing within that. All right, the Golden Weekly League Weekly Open. Shigwa defeated Breaking GG 4-0. I believe we got that. Oh, Shigo won the Gold Secondary League twice in a row. I was going to say, didn't we talk about that last week? But I guess Shigwa is on fire right now and destroys 2 of them. Congrats to him. The Sub-League Weekly Open from Golden Weekly. Cyan won the second round of the Gold Sub-League 4-0 in September. Congrats to
Killing
Cyan.
it, man.
Yeah.
All you got to do is put the name Gold in your tournament, and he just wins it automatically.
You got to remember to say league twice as well, just to make sure people are aware that it is a league. You guys can check that out, the Gold Series on Wikipedia. Definitely a very important series over for that Chinese scene, which is, it seems to be continuing to grow. What just happened here? Okay. I think I clicked on something by accident. Hold on.
How dare you?
God,
you ruined everything, Artosis.
I've slowed everything down.
One job.
Production value.
All right. Here we go. Back down there. NetEase Esports X Tournaments 2019 Autumn Finals. Looks like Ocean Gaming defeated Team Newbie, and Newbie defeated Invictus. So those two teams will go ahead and advance. Again, it doesn't look like there is an English stream for this at this time, but you might want to check out Crank's stream. He keeps a very strong one on Twitch.
Yeah.
So check that out.
And if you avoid watching the Chinese stream because it lags, the stream for NEXT does not lag because it has North American servers for it. Because Bilibili.com serves more anime content online than any other website in the world. And so, turns out that people like watching that. And now they do StarCraft too. So what's not to love?
Damn, do you just know everything?
That's
I
impressive.
mean, I watch StarCraft sometimes.
I would have never expected that.
Yeah, no, I had no idea. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't Crunchyroll the website that people watch anime on? What?
Crunchyroll wishes it was a Chinese website. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well,
The
thank
more
you
you
for
know.
that. Apparently the VODs won't lag. Amazing. All right, going forward, we have Olima League. We had a Solar take down Armani 3-0. Look at that, Dream in the top 4 and Bunny in the top 4 as well. We are seeing, Olima League is really where to keep your finger on the pulse of how things are moving in Korea right now. This is, how we knew that Solar was really coming up. Armani's had a lot of strong showings. Dream and Bunny having a lot of strong showings as well. Very cool stuff. You guys can check this out over on Maynard's stream. And of course, they have a Patreon as well, which is just amazing, amazing value for the best replays, basically, that you can get. So check that out. Patreon.com/holymoly. All right, the French Underdogs Season 58 tournament for the French-speaking players on OGaming-SC2 on Twitch. Looks like Hino, DNS, and Uzi Cody advance to the September finals. You can check that out. If you speak French, that is going to be especially for you. And if you don't, it's actually still pretty worthwhile because there's so many strong French-speaking players that play in it.
Also, French casters are so sick, so just do yourself a favor.
They're pretty awesome. There's no doubt about that. All right, the CEA, the Corporate Esports Association Season 2. A lot of companies that have StarCraft 2 teams are getting together and playing. So check it out on cea.gg if you are interested in playing against companies such as Google, Facebook, IBM, etc. Yeah.
The Amazon team is named Alexa 12 Pool.
Yeah, there's some actual very, very good names in
Hey,
there.
they're up at the top, so it's working.
Amazon Painforest. That's a good one.
Yeah. Zuckerzerg.
All right. Very, very witty nerds there playing for those companies.
Yeah.
The Wardy Summer Championship 2019 is occurring. Gumiho advanced to the quarterfinals over Fantasy 3-1, and Clem advanced over Uthermal 3-2 in the losers bracket. Is Terran OP? The Wardy TV Summer Championship sure thinks so. Check it out on twitch.tv/Wardy. The Masters Swan Open Sea Duckling Open continues forward. Yeah, Starduck 3-0 over Light VIP in the finals of the Master Swan Open at number 69. We also have the Grand Platypus Open. They're going to figure out everything with a bill.
It's not a waterfowl, but it does have the bill. So technically,
yeah,
you're squeaking in.
Don't they lay eggs too or whatever? So
yeah,
they do.
And they have poison spines.
On their back feet only.
Oh, that's right, Artosis.
Yeah.
You got me there. I would have
so
never.
Don't be afraid if a platypus is running towards you. You'll be fine.
That's right. Only if it's backing slowly towards you should you be afraid.
Yeah, that's when you got to be afraid for sure. All right, number 2 is going to play on the 22nd. Well, I guess it already did play, but this is a new tournament that's occurring for the SEA and Oceanic region, so you can check that out. The Ao Dai. This is a Vietnamese tournament that is being casted every week by Grant, who we've had on this show before and did Aces. You can check out twitch.tv/GrantSC2. Congrats to Justice Simon for taking down Theo Cleo. That is a great ID. All right, StarCraft 2's Platinum Heroes and Diamond Heroes are continuing forward. Hey Buddy over Buruquet in the Platinum tournament. And then Diamond tournament, we had Heroku over Garrett, 3-0. If you are a Platinum or Diamond player, which I know most of you are because that's most players.
You're kidding. Everybody in chat's Grandmasters.
Yeah,
that's true while they're in the chat. But when they're actually playing the game, right? That's when we know that that's their rank. But check that out, guys. They have Discords and stuff so that you can get together with players of your level and either just have great games or maybe level up into the next level of tournaments. Oh, finally it's time. Africa World LaughNgamez. Tell us about this tournament.
Well, Africa World, I mean, if you guys have watched the Pylon show, you've probably seen it quite a bit before. So back doing these tournaments, usually every 2 weeks, we invite like 4 players and try and have some interesting matchups. This one in particular, we went back to Europe. We went back to Europe, but we also had Kellizer in the tournament because he's there too. So, but yeah, I mean, it was great games. Like the round of 4 was really good. The finals was a ZVZ, but Africa World, every 2 weeks we put on one of these events with 4 invites. Yeah,
you did mention that it was a tournament in Europe, so we did know that it was a ZVZ finals already. But thank you for that. Wait a minute, where'd my window go? My God, I'm having some real issues today, guys.
It's on the side of your house, Artosis.
Oh, shit.
No. It hurts.
You got me there.
It hurts. Oh,
It actually, I think my window just crashed. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. So,
How dare you?
God, my computer going haywire.
This is-
Hold on 1 second.
I feel like somewhere there's an alien and it cloned Artosis and just put him in one of these bubbles and it just watches him play with technology all day long. It's just the funniest thing because you never know when it's going to happen.
Listen, if we live in a simulation, I'm the one that's going to break it. Okay.
He's the chosen
For no
one.
specific reason, just like some reason in general. Oh.
Okay. We're almost back there. Hold on. I don't know how that X's off.
Dan's got to reinstall his Netscape Navigator window.
All right, here we go. That's the problem on Netscape. All right, the Bonjour Fight Night Club 2, Group A and B. Looks like Showtime, Nurture, New Thermal, Hero Marine, and Petit Drogo advanced this week. The tournament runs September 11th through October 9th. It's a gigantic prize pool, and it's over on twitch.tv/Bonjour. Check it out. The Bulgarian Starcraft League, Saravets Fall 2019 had a whole bunch of players advance. Group Stage 2 plays October 5th, 6th, 12th, and 13th. So if you are Bulgarian and interested, check it out on facebook.com/BSL Esports. All right, Starcraft Sundays. Alongside Take TV, we're excited to announce Starcraft Sundays, a new weekly tournament series. So it's between Wardy and Take, and they have a lot of really high-end players playing in it. Looks like Soul defeated Namshar 3-2 in that finals. I believe it's on Wardy's channel, but not 100% sure about that.
There is a picture of Wardy there.
Yeah.
So
There is a
good assumption.
They're just using his face.
yeah.
probably. Has
This is how
nothing to do with
advertising-
Wardy at all.
Yeah.
We think that that's actually a picture of Take.
Oh no.
You Google it and it just what comes up. And it's also a good tournament because it shares the same sponsors as
That's
the
right.
Pylon show.
That's right. That's very important. So definitely check them out and give them support. All right. Now for the most important part of
Ooh,
this
here
week's
we go.
Starcraft. The Pizza Pie Biweekly Season
All
2.
right.
Next tournament, September 30th, 4 days from today. You can see that Starkiller's still in the lead with 20 pizzas. Eric, though, only on 3. So apparently that 3 pizza victory doesn't fall under the actual Pizza Pie Biweekly. Just want to throw that out there because otherwise he would be in 3rd place after Future and Starkiller. So if you are hungry, if you like pizza, definitely do check this out. All right.
Like, what do you do with 20 pizzas? I don't think. How long has it been since I've eaten 20 pizzas? Like,
I like to think
Wow.
he's saving them up.
Well,
got them in a
if
stack in the
Rapid.
corner.
if you were one of the greatest StarCraft 2 American players and you won 20 pizzas, I know you would have eaten them, and that's how you would have had 20 pizzas. But
That's
only
true.
Starkiller's been able to do it.
I'm not, so
Yeah.
that's why I haven't done it.
All right. General Transmissions, number 22 episode of In Depth. We did an episode on Dream, who is showing just a lot of skill in a lot of tournaments and now is in Super Tournament from Beating Innovation. Check it out on youtube.com/ArtosisTV. All right, return of the Icefar with Pig. The current Icefar challenge is watching from the shadows. Indulge your perverted side by spying on your opponent and setting up as much map vision as possible. I normally would not call that perverted. I would call that good scouting, but Pig is he's got his own way of looking at things. So the submissions are open till the 28th if you want to go ahead and take part. Check it out over on Pig's channel. Pig is on x5_pig on Twitch. All right, another Africa World Tournament here coming up. LaughNgamez, tell us about it.
Yeah, this one's going to be on Sunday, and we're doing another European one. So excited for this one. We've only had a laser in, so we've got 3 new faces, and I've wanted to watch like Inzane, Hate Me, and Gung Fu Banda play for a while because they're all looking pretty good at the moment.
Yeah,
They've all shown a lot of promise, so it's great to have them in the event, and that's on Africa as usual. So on Sunday, 9 a.m., and me and Falcon Paladin will be casting that.
Excellent. Yeah, Gung Fu's been killing it lately, actually. Really enjoyed some of his games.
Yeah, he decided to start playing again.
Yeah. Check that out, guys, over on Africa TV with LaughNgamez. Oh, Games Invitational, LaughNgamez, take it away. Tell me about it. But I mean, this is why these 3 are on the show.
Yeah, so the Games Invitational, it's going to be just another one of these one-off events. Like, as far as creating content for Africa goes, it's like, what do people really want to watch? So Tasia versus Dong Regu, I think if you've been a Starcraft fan for a while, you probably know both of those guys, and you should probably tune in to watch it because it's going to be great. Tasia is Tasia, and Dong Regu is looking real good lately as well. Like, we had him in a tournament before, and he was looking really, really good. So playing like a classic style too as well. So that's a classic show match.
Excellent. And, you know, obviously DRG has made it back into GSL once since his return, and Tasia's come very close, like 3 times now. So these guys still coming back up. Check it out over on Africa TV. NA Apprentice 6. Sugar, it's your turn. What's up with this?
All right, so the NA Apprentice is a GSL style tournament for up-and-coming NA players. As you can see in our invite list, so we are changing it just a little bit from previous seasons. Previously, there was a rule where if you reached top 32 in WCS, you weren't allowed to play in this. But as an experiment, we're going to remove those rules. So as long as you're an NA, you can play in this event. And we're just going to see what happens with that.
Okay, very cool. When can people watch this?
So we haven't set the stream yet because unlike other tournaments, the NA Apprentice players can, like, they have to schedule with each other to arrange a match during the week instead of having a designated time.
Yeah, I think if you're that actually seems like it fits the format better because these guys are not all full-time pros.
Yeah,
so makes a lot of sense.
It's way more flexible for them. Works out.
Excellent. And NA Apprentice 6 Contenders. Tell us about that one.
Oh, so this one was actually from last season. So on the left side, John versus square root of -1. That was the NA Contender Grand
I
Final.
was wondering. I was like, is this guy a sort of fan? Like, he spelled sort of wrong.
Yeah, I was going with sort of Nagone, but like, you know, that's okay
I wonder
too.
how casting that was.
Yeah, I have no. I mean, you can ask Cold Terran; he would know. But yeah, that was the left side was the Contender Grand Finals from last season, and the right side was the NA Apprentice Grand Final from season 5.
All right.
Yep.
Excellent. If you guys want to check that out, go over to Cold Terran's channel, I guess. All right. The Primus Cup LATAM Sir.
Means South.
Oh, okay. Yeah, signups close October 3rd. If you want to play, if you're from Latin America, go check it out. Also, speaking of which, a new Latin American Spanish-speaking podcast for the community is out. La Espira is Spanish for The Spire. Oh, excellent. Episode 1 has Demon Swap Horus and Jim Rising talking about WCS Fall, Copa America, and the future of StarCraft. If you are a Spanish speaker, definitely check this out and give them some support for a new podcast. Can never have too many. All right, the Australian Esports Federation SC2 LAN event, the Battle Down Under. Estrella won the American qualifiers, and we already saw that Namshar won the European qualifiers. It's a $5,000 SC2 event on October 5th in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
So that is super cool. Definitely check it out if you're in the area. Not sure who the other 2 players are qualified as of yet, but we will let you know when we know. All right, ProBots Season 3. Back to the final season of 2019, which is Season 3. Registration ends on October 7th, and you have to submit your bots on October 8th. So if you want the rules, you can go over to their page and check that out. This is all from ESChamp, so check it out on eschamp.com. All right, the Epic LAN 28 is taking place in the UK from October 10th through 13th. They also have a Discord for the UK scene. If you're a part of that scene, if you live in the UK, definitely join that Discord, connect with your countrymen, and go play in this tournament. All right, the Alpha Pro Series. Sugar,
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with this?
So the Alpha Pro Series is a series of show matches that we run on a, I think, pretty much weekly basis. We invite all kinds of players to participate. You know, the main purpose is for players to have something to play in and earn a little bit of pocket money while they're at it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and some excellent players playing in it too. Look at that, Showtime 5-4 over a laser. Possibly a preview of the BlizzCon finals. Well, it's not ZVZ, so no, but you know, a match in BlizzCon.
We can always hope.
Yeah. All right, check it out on africatv.com/alphaxcsp. All right, there's also general transmissions. We have a link to, and this is an ESChamp video, actually on ESChamp's YouTube. Starcraft 2, how to use an SRS to practice from replays. An SRS is a spaced repetition software, such as Anki. It's something that's normally used for doing things like learning languages or definitions or something like that. And I started watching this video. I didn't get to watch the whole thing as of yet. Kind of interesting because I've thought a lot about trying to use SRS within StarCraft. If you're a very new player, this could be useful for you. If you're somewhat seasoned and have played a decent amount, I'm not as convinced by it, but either way, check it out over on ESChamp's YouTube channel. All right, the CSL Autumn Competition, the Collegiate Star League. This is taking place in China. So if you're in China and in university and watching the Pylon show, take a look.
Yeah. It's weird because there's two CSL, one in America, one in China.
Yeah.
Completely stole their branding. They're both called CSL. They both stand for Collegiate Star League, but one of them's in China. So,
yeah.
You know.
Wonder which one will win in the end. All right. The Nation Wars 2019 still occurring. The qualifiers are between September 30th and October 1st. And then we'll move up with the next round. So check this out over on nationwars.tv or on the OGaming site. We will update you as these matches come to fruition and we actually get the full bracket going rather than kind of the big open thing at the beginning. All right, this week in Brood War, Corrupted Cup. Just a reminder that's going to be taking place very, very soon, October 12th through 13th. It's all the best foreigners in one Korean. All right, excellent. Thank you. Rapid, actually, you'll be casting that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going to go on with Corrupted Cup?
Okay, yeah. So Corrupted Cup is really cool because it's sort of the comeback of these yearly international events for Brood War. And back in the day, you know, for things like WCG, that was kind of the big culmination of the year. You would win your regional qualifier and then advance on to this. And this one was a little bit rushed because it's still like a new concept. So the fact that it's happening is actually incredible. The guy that's running it, it's named Russ Brain, RUS_Brain. He's really kept the server or the international Brood War scene alive by putting a ton of money into it, running events like the 20th anniversary LAN event, which was just fantastic. So Corrupted Cup is coming up. It's in about 2 weeks. Artosis and I just got our Russian visas so that we're going to be going there. It's an exciting time for Brood War because it's sort of the rebirth of international competition. And this is I mean, Brood War, watching like Flash kill everybody is fun and stuff, but this is truly where you get down in the dirt with like the best of the rest and you find out who is the most likely non-Korean player to ever have the honor of losing to Flash. But also, you just get to watch the best players in the world duke it out. And there's a magic about Brood War that you only get when you don't play it perfectly. And I feel like watching Flash makes Brood War look boring sometimes. And now you're watching people that are just gonna kill each other. Like this is the Coliseum of Brood War, where people from all over the world just come to murder each other for our enjoyment. So it's gonna be really, really excited. It's gonna be a live tournament in Russia. And I'm going to be there. Artosis is going to be there, and all of the best non-Korean players in the world are going to be there. It's just going to be so stacked.
Groups are already out too, right?
Yep.
That's right. So groups are out, and it's almost a shoo-in for Artosis to make it out of his group. Almost.
Is it now?
Almost.
That's great to hear. Thank you for
Close.
the pressure. All right. Yeah, guys, definitely check that out. I think we'll hopefully get in a preview episode of that before it goes live. All right. The STPL. Rapid again. What's going on with STPL?
Okay, so yeah, I was literally casting STPL moments before. This is the STPL match from day one. Today was day two. This was by far one of the best days of STPL I've ever cast. If you don't know what STPL is, it stands for Shinhan Tank Pro League. The former Pro League for Brood War was called the Shinhan Bank Pro League. So it's a joke. It's a joke. But the idea is that this is a team league it's international. So you can be Korean, you can be from South America, Russia, wherever you want. And in fact, a couple of the best clans are from South Korea, but there's a lot of clans that have like a cool mix of South Korean and international players. And it's just amazing because the best player does not always win. You never know what to expect. And because it's organized by this guy named Kix, all the maps are just the weirdest. The game one is played on NeosteelEnthusiast, if you know what that map is.
That map's crazy.
It's so crazy. And then later on, we have Desperado, which has a double gas main. So like, it's just the weirdest maps. And you get to watch some of the best players in the world. By some of the best players in the world, I mean literally best mind. There's a lot of pro Koreans that play in this, and a lot of the best players who aren't Korean play in it too. And so, for example, this is Red versus Ash that's just concluded. But by far the sickest games of StarCraft. I watched the best TVT, best non-Korean TVT I've ever seen on Monday. It was Koget versus Marwin, I want to say, and that was Net Wars versus IRK. And the VODs for that are up under a special must-watch highlight on the STPL YouTube channel at youtube.com/STPLTV. So you can go check that out. It's so badass. And it's 3 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on twitch.tv/STPL. So go check it out.
Excellent. Thank you much. All right, moving forward, the BSL Season 7. Let me guess, Rapid, did you cast this as well?
That's me. That's right. The Bombastic Star League is back for yet another season. And once again, it's sponsored by Blizzard, who have given funding to seasons 7, 8, 9, and $3,000 for the grand finale, season 10, season X, whatever you want to call it. So it's really, really cool. And it's not just one tournament, it's an entire ecosystem. There's the BSL Pro Series, which is where all the best of the best play. Then there's the BSL Gosu League and Chobo League underneath that. So no matter what your ranking, no matter how good or bad you are, and basically everybody that plays Brood War is just horrendous at it. So just sign up for one of those tournaments. It's actually so true. I mean, I'll never forget. I think it was like one of the new Let's Learn StarCraft with Day 9s where he's talking about how badass Bisu's micro is. And then also at the same time, he built 2 observatories. So I'm like, okay, everybody is just garbage at this game. But depending on how garbage you are or aren't, you can sign up. There's somewhere in BSL for you. But this specifically is mentioning the Pro Series. And because the new season just now started, we're speeding through it. So we're already done with the entire round of 24. And we just finished the group draw for the round of 16, which features the top 4 players from last year, plus the players that qualified from this year too. A lot of Peruvian players. Basically, every group had a Peruvian player in it, and almost all of them advanced. So some really, really awesome stuff going on for BSL. It's the best international non-Korean Brood War tournament in the world, so go check it out if that's what you're into.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you much. All right, the Undermine podcast, episode 32 is out. They're talking to Hannes Bredberg and Antigua. Of course, this is a podcast about the bot scene within StarCraft 1. You can check this out on makingcomputerdothings.com. And we'll be bringing you some more about the StarCraft 1 bot scene on a future episode as well. So definitely check that out. This week in Awesome, happy birthday to Starkiller. It is his 21st birthday. Looks like Alpha X Sushi got his boy a pizza gift card. I'm sure there's nothing he'd rather like after winning 20 pizzas.
I was going to say, he's
won 3 more the other day.
He's won 1 pizza for every year he's been alive so far.
Well, he's got to win one this year then, because he's on year 21 and only 20 pizzas.
Something tells me he's got that.
Yeah, happy birthday to Starkiller. This week in Awesome, Phase 2 has been unlocked within the War Chest. If you don't have the War Chest yet, go get it. You've been working towards experience for it anyways. But yeah, definitely check that out. It supports StarCraft in a big way. Also, of course, we have our public service announcement. Do you clip funny memes? Do you make StarCraft content? Do you create tournaments? Do you win tournaments? Do you win pizzas? Send all of your clips, your news, everything to the Pylon Show Twitter, as well as Cobra Venom, and even Alessander as well. Okay, that is this week in StarCraft. Thank you much, guys, for all the help on that. And I believe we have a few clips here from Cobra.
Yeah, first up, we got a clip from Riffin here.
Queen, they're going to kill the drones, and even if that spine crawler defends, Bly's at least going to bring TLO down to his level drone count wise. But you might respect the spine crawler. Who does this? Nobody does this. The spine crawlers have huge armor, by the way. 2 armor for these spine crawlers means these things only hit for like 3. Oh my god, but even with the single target, this is nuts. The other spine crawler's going to root. There's an extra shot available, so Bly's going to retreat. TLO's going to chase. And the spawning pool's gonna die in the main base while all this goes on. No more links can be built. And he walks away. Once again, he's gonna outnumber the spine crawler.
Wow, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
No,
wait. Dumbest.
Wait, interception! He intercepts his full surround on the ramp and the links come in. This is it for TLO. This was everything I wanted out of a game. This is so stupid.
Jesus.
The drones are gonna take forever to kill this, but they will kill the spine crawler. That being said, though, with only 3 drones on the map,
Rifkin is definitely
Bly is
right.
mining where TLO's not. Look at that Queen. They're gonna kill the drones, and even if that spine crawler defends.
My God.
That income graph, I wish I could just stare at that for hours. And oh my god, it's like the Rorschach plot, but when you look at that, you just have no idea what it looks like.
Next up, we have Chicken Man.
Okay.
Oh no, don't pull the workers. Oh no, not the GG.
Oh God.
Oh,
This
the drones.
poor man.
Not like this.
We defeated this poor man with a Reaper and some Hellions. Oh no. How sad for him. You're disappointing. I'm not wearing a monocle. Well.
You gotta like how he's wearing a suit.
I know.
Yeah. His shtick is actually fantastic. One of these days it's going to get gigantic. Look at his monocle too.
Just destroyed his opponent.
Guys, I gotta point out that's not a monocle. That's broken sunglasses. He went from incredibly classy to incredibly trashy in about 2 seconds, right there.
No.
The fact that he had it planned to be able to pull out a broken set of glasses to use as a monocle is
It's amazing.
Just a little bit.
That's quality that he's wearing a suit. That's I like it.
Very classy.
That's about it for this week.
All right. Thank you. Some brief clips, but fun ones this week, actually. Okay. So we get into the regular topics. Now, of course, all 3 of you do a ton of casting, a ton of content creation, and like kind of wrangling nerds to play tournaments, all that type of thing. But that doesn't mean that the community knows you as well as it really should. So we're going to open up with a little bit of story time from each of you to just kind of tell what you do, where you've come from, what's your story within StarCraft, what are you kind of into right now as well. Sugar, we're going to go ahead and start with you. So why don't you tell us about your StarCraft journey, the story of Sugar, who you are, and all that.
All right, where to start? So I guess I'll just go from the beginning. So I got the game when it came out back in 2010. And I was just a casual fan back then. Played a lot of team games back then. I still play a lot of team games now, mainly 2v2s. That's my main shtick in StarCraft. So like just been playing, like not really part of the community at large. Like I just had a friend or two who I knew played StarCraft, but nothing else. And then that went on for a couple years. And then towards the end of 2015, I decided I wanted to start tryharding in 1v1, just to see where I can take it. Like after playing the game for 5 years, let's get out of Diamond League, let's
Sure.
let's try to do better so I can, talk trash in Twitch chat. So
The goal of all Starcraft
exactly
try to get better before doing that.
I needed my credibility here, so
Yeah.
got to put in the hours. So I grinded in 2015, got masters, and then I got GM towards the end of 2015. Proudest moment of my life. Very happy. And then after that, I joined Psystorm. I think this was beginning of 2016. Like I knew KJ from a LAN because we're both in the DC area and there were DC LANs. So we met up before, so we had contact there. So after I joined Psystorm, I joined the academy team. Like back then it was very small, not a lot of people. So, just we started out like hanging out on Skype and then on Discord. And slowly from there, we just grew the team into what it is today. So that was exciting.
Yeah. Cool.
But then, that went on for 3 years. And actually, I think this was 2 weeks ago, I left Psystorm just because I decided it was time for change. Like we did a lot together, but I wanted to try something different. So I left the team. And then after that happened, Alpha X reached out to me. I didn't expect anyone to reach out to me, so that was pretty cool. Like I figured, why not? Like, let's try this out. Like, it's not gonna hurt. So here I am today.
Excellent.
As the team manager for the NA Pro team. And I also help out with their events on the side as well.
Yeah. And what is that like to kind of? Do you consider yourself a player, a manager, an organizer? How would you like bracket yourself within what you do in Starcraft?
I would consider myself both a manager and an organizer. Like primarily I'm a manager for Alpha X, but I also organize the NA Apprentice on the side. Like that's just a hobby of mine. Like the way it started out is that there's not a lot going on in the NA scene. Like all we had were like a couple weekly tournaments every now and then, but nothing too big. So like I just wanted to start a tournament series mainly for my friends. And then like I started running those back in the beginning of 2019. And like I just like ran them, and like a lot more people than I thought actually participate in this. So I just decided to keep it going, and here I am today.
Oh, that's very cool. That's actually how I started. Was wanted to run a tournament for my friends, and now here I am. All right,
power of friendship.
Yeah. It's a My Little Pony episode in the making.
Yep.
Very cool. All right, thank you for that overview of yourself. LaughNgamez, can you tell us about your journey up to this point?
All right. So, like most people, I guess at some point your fingers allow you to be able to play video games. So probably when I was like 13, I started to get really into the gaming and everything. And a few years later, I got really into, or quite a few years later, I got really into Starcraft. And like anyone who plays Starcraft after a while, you're like, how good can I really get? So you really get into it, like watching streams and tournaments and everything like that. And so watched a lot of streams for quite a few years there. Still managed to graduate high school during that, surprisingly, because it was just Starcraft nonstop and everything. And
I know that.
Then after like a few years of just watching and everything, I was like, one day, I don't know what inspired me. I was like, you know what? I'm like, I'd post on Reddit and stuff, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and make like a commentary. So I did that, and I got like quite a fair bit of like really good and constructive feedback from Reddit. That's the best thing Reddit's for, I guess, although not always positive, but really actually like genuine constructive feedback on commentating. And so I did that for a bit on YouTube and everything, like mainly just like trying to commentate the way that I like to watch commentary in a sense, and just like focus on the games and show games and stuff that like wouldn't normally be commentated and stuff for my YouTube. It was just a hobby though, so I did that and fell off for like a little bit, just doing like maybe like a commentary here and there, nothing too serious. And then one day I was just doing my usual like checking Reddit for like the 30th time in the day or whatever, and then ended up seeing like a post, just like Frika basically doing like a casting call or whatever to like, if you want to organize content through a Frika TV, they're like, shoot us like a promo or whatever. And I was like, done a bit of commentary, and I generally, once again, as a huge fan of the game and everything, it's like I know what I like to watch, so I'm going to try and create that. So I created a Frika world and have been doing that for 2.5 years now, basically pretty much the same format, a larger event here and there and everything, but then just all the while during that, like a bit of streaming here and there, nothing too serious or anything like that, but yeah, just doing events just as like a big Starcraft fan who creates content here and there.
Oh, very cool. And Afrika brought you out to Korea for GSL vs. the World, right?
They did. I was really surprised. Like, I've had a very, very busy summer. I'm recently moved. I joined the reserves and I'm starting university. So I was actually at basic training and I had just gotten back, or even during basic training, I think they messaged me. I had a chance to check my phone and they're like, you want to come out to Korea? And the dates just lined up. I flew over to Korea, like literally left. I had my brother's wedding, so wrapped that up and then left the next morning. So that was a bit rough of a journey. But yeah, flew out to Korea for a week. Got to see the studio and everything, watched GSL versus the World live. Cyril won there, no surprise, but got to meet a bunch of the players and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's just really, really awesome experience for someone coming up in the scene as a caster and everything. So getting to fly out to Korea and meet all sorts of people, meet Rapid, Artosis, of course, and all the other commentators around. So yeah.
All right, very cool. Rapid, why don't you tell us about yourself a little bit?
It's actually really interesting. I met both LaughNgamez and Sugar in Korea, and I don't think I've seen them outside of Korea. Actually, I might have seen Sugar like maybe once. I don't know. But anyway, eventually all the cool kids come out to Korea, so it's just really cool to have you guys on the show too. And as for me, I guess I started. Let's see, a friend of mine that I beat in every game brought over a disc for Starcraft Brood War one time and was like, hey, let's play this game. I've heard it's really cool. So I'm like, okay. And I just like play it because I expect to like trash this kid. And he, I think he sunken contained me on a fastest map or something. It was disgusting. I felt bad. He made me feel bad. And so I turned to my best friend, and that was Alta Vista, which was the Stone Age Google. And I typed in how to win Starcraft or something like that. And I was just like, this is how I'll find the answer to this. And of course, I saw videos of Boxer in a spacesuit microing Marines around lurkers, and I'm just like, what is this? This is so crazy. And I watched some of these games, and I was just like, okay, I'll just do that. And obviously, it's pretty difficult, but it was really exciting for me as a kid that grew up on a farm to learn that there's this whole magical universe out there that is just the most ludicrous thing if you've never heard of it before. So I just like completely fell in love because it's this online community. When I lived way out in the middle of nowhere, there was this community of people who all just loved this crazy thing that was Starcraft. And then I remember I used to watch a lot of English commentary of the VODs, and I would stay up overnight waiting for the video to be uploaded from the game the night before. So sick. And I remember it was Diggity and Moldtrap made VODs about how to record using Windows Movie Maker over the downloaded YouTube VOD. It was the most ghetto setup I've ever experienced. I was like, I can do that. I had the technology, which was like a 2001 HP laptop or something. It was $5 Walmart mic and some iPod earbuds. The technology of the past. It was so good. So I made like 500 of these stupid videos that are all private on my channel now. Nobody will ever see those again. And it's just like for fun because I saw other people doing it, and then like a couple of websites were advertising, hey, post your stuff on here and you'll get recognized and stuff. It's like SC2GG and SC for all and some other stuff like that. So I posted a bunch of my stuff out there, and some people got in contact with me and were like, hey, this is really cool. Would you like to cast this other stuff for StarCraft 2? And so I cast like a little bit of just like the earliest, like nobody would watch this StarCraft content. And then I think I moved on pretty quickly to other games, and eventually I got brought out here to Korea, where obviously StarCraft is super huge. And just because sometimes there weren't people around to fill on certain days, I got a chance to work on Pro League and SSL and obviously GSL and ASL, and everything kind of took off after that. So it's just been so much fun living out here and hanging out with everybody and watching Six StarCraft and, you know, going dope places, doing dope things. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Going dope places, doing dope things. That does sound dope. All right. All right. Thank you guys for those stories. Okay, so kind of moving on to the main subject of this, I kind of want to learn a bit, and I'm a bit ignorant on this, kind of like the map maker episode that we had more recently, because you guys make a lot of these kind of smaller events happen, and like I mentioned before, it's kind of you know, the meat and bones of StarCraft, because, like, you know, there's a good amount of people that are just like, okay, I watch WCS, I watch GSL or something, right, like that, right? And then you can go a level below that and a level below that, right? And it's these other events. You know, we've talked about Lima League on here before, how that's really important as like a kind of a stepping stone. And obviously this week in StarCraft, I feel like I'm mostly talking about the content that you three are involved in, with maybe a couple other people as well. So I just kind of want to start picking your guys' brain about, like, what makes you decide to make this content, to organize these tournaments together, to cast these tournaments, to, you know, what is this kind of like a journey to making this stuff that's actually quite important? I mean, you guys get some of the stuff you do is for amateurs, which is really cool, and I want to hear about how you decide to make that as opposed to pro content. But you guys get the top pros playing in a bunch of your stuff as well. So I'm wondering if you guys can help me to learn more about this, and the scene to learn more about this.
All right. So as far as,
I know that's
like,
a big question. I'm sorry, but that's kind of the idea of what I want to get conveyed here, I guess.
Okay, but yeah, we can talk about, like, the way you go about organizing tournaments. I think we all probably have, like, a bit of different experience. Like, I think I'm a little bit more limited in mine because I haven't done, honestly, a ton of amateur things like that outside of a few open qualifiers. So maybe Sugar's more like qualified to talk about running like more grassroots events, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. So where to begin? So basically, like, the reason why I start these is just because I noticed that there's a lack of grassroots events. Like, there's a niche to fill, and I see an opportunity to fill it. So that's basically why I started the NA Apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
So the way NA Apprentice started, as I talked about earlier, was that, like, I had a group of friends, like, you know, we're, you know, GM players, like, not very high level. Like, we don't have a lot of opportunities, like, especially in WCS. Like, you know, maybe we can qualify for Challenger, but then we get knocked down by, like, Neeb or Scarlet, and we don't get very far. So I wanted to create a tournament where players have an opportunity to play in, you know, longer term events where they get to actually, you know an opponent ahead of time and, you know, prepare some builds, like, you know, just meta person perfectly. Mm-hmm. So that's how the NA Apprentice was born. And then, yeah. Oh, were you going to ask something?
Well, if you have something else, keep going. But I do have a question about the Apprentice.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, so you're on season 6 right now. I'm wondering, like, first off, how would you measure the success of it? Like, has it been building up and becoming more successful? Does it keep, like, a regular range? And how would you look at that? Is it just about the participation and the thanks of the players, or is it something you're looking to build? I'm just kind of wondering everything about it.
So, like, for me, all that matters really is player participation. Like, as long as I'm getting good numbers in the qualifiers and just, like, people, like, actually playing their matches, like, that's all I really care about. And as long as that happens, I'll keep it running. So, like, basically the way it works is every season I'll put in a certain amount of money in. So, like, let's say the base prize pool is $200, and then I'll have a Matcherino page, and then, you know, we'll raise money that way. But it's very fluid. Like, sometimes we'll get, you know, $100 donation for a certain season. Other seasons we won't get that much at all. So, like, the prize pool itself isn't what's important to me. It's just the player's experience.
Mhm.
Aww.
Yeah. And actually, LaughNgamez actually knows about this as well, because I have another series called the
yeah.
NA Contender, which is basically the same thing as NA Apprentice, but it's MMR capped. So I think the MMR is 5250. So if you're under that MMR limit, you can play an NA Contender, and LaughNgamez is actually one of the participants.
Oh yeah, yeah, the NA Contender, it's like you said, it's kind of like a step down as far as like skill level. So guys like me might stand a bit of a chance, but it's actually really fun if for people like me who obviously can't compete at a pro level. So as far as the NA Contender goes, like it's just really fun with like the grind. As far as being like, I got a match to play, I gotta get out there and get ready to play this. So yeah, I'm actually like hitting the grind, preparing for that, and that's the sort of stuff that like the grassroots scene does for people that wouldn't usually play in like tournaments or anything like that.
Yeah, it just gives them something to do. Like, that's the basic gist of it.
What type of participation are you getting across these tournaments?
So, like, I would say, like, in the qualifiers, generally there's like, I want to say around 20 people playing each qualifier. So it's not very big, but I'm happy with the numbers, because each season has around like 24 to 32 players, and I'll usually invite 8 players from the previous season. So in reality, we're seeing like 16 people qualify. So it's not a very large player base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if we can jump over to more of the higher end professional events, that like LaughNgamez, for instance, these Africa Worlds, you're getting some of the very best players in the world playing in those. How do you think about creating those and getting those players and everything?
As far as like doing events, I guess the main thing that comes to mind is like really the first thing that I think is probably, because I'm there to create the best content that I can, and that's going to be attractive. So really like and as a Starcraft fan, it's like, what do I want to see, right? Like I'll just be like, who do I want to set up and see if they'll play a match? And that's the first thing that you do, right? Like at this point, I've got contact with like most of the pros, and you can always find a way to reach out to like a pro on Twitter or whatever if you need to contact them. But like, yeah, as far as just what events I want to do, it's like, okay, who's around for a certain time? Do they want to play? And most pro players like will be willing to play like a tournament at some point, like not necessarily all the time, but for example, like Tasia, who doesn't grind in like a ton of cups or anything, or even DRG, who we don't really see besides the GSL qualifiers too much or anything like that. Or they'll like, if you ask them, they might come out to do a match. And so that's why like we've got this show match coming up on Saturday. It's really just a matter of asking. Like, you want to see something, you see if it'll be out there. Like if the players will be down for it.
Yeah, and how do you guys go about deciding the funding aspect? Is it something that you're looking to grow? Sugar, you said you throw in the money. I don't know if that's like a sponsorship or this is just kind of coming out of your own wallet, but how do you look at that?
Well, it's coming out of my own wallet right now, and I'm not actively looking for sponsorships because it's not something I'm like very interested in growing. But like, if it happens, like I'll obviously be very happy, but like I'm not actively looking to grow it at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to keep it limited and like very manageable.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like what you're talking about with NA Apprentice really reminds me of what Oli Moly was talking about with Olima League, where it's not really about growth. It's more about having a stable tournament for the scene to participate in, which is an honorable task.
Yeah. I would say that right along with that, as far as like sponsorship goes, especially if it's for a tournament that like you're really looking to grow. Like I know, for LaughNgamez, if you didn't have Africa TV to like partner with to do these tournaments, that would make your life like a whole lot like harder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's just from prize money or organizing or broadcasting, whatever it is, like having a sponsor is either like, it's certainly like the goal is you like level up. Okay, I want to really take this seriously. And even for things like Apprentice, it's obviously like a tournament that is like has an important niche, but kind of hasn't taken that step to crazy sponsorship. And it's been really cool, at least for me, not on the StarCraft 2 side, but on the StarCraft 1 side, to work with Kix and and Zero running STPL and BSL to see those like grow just like insanely. Both of them now are BSL is now sponsored by Blizzard for thousands and thousands of dollars every year with a $3,000 finals in the future. And then STPL just got sponsored by Liquipedia, which is not like a sponsor most people would reach out to. But for Brood War, you know, Liquipedia is kind of the place. And so they were able to sponsor it with, I think, $500 for the prize pool and a whole lot of like news and content pieces that they're preparing for it. So just like really cool to see kind of the opportunities that are out there. But it's always like very strange and unique how they come about. So if you're watching this out there and you run small tournaments or you want to run bigger tournaments or whatever, just like ask the weirdest people. Like, you know, grandma is not too out there to not have a couple of nickels to donate to Matcherino, you know?
Now, with the Africa World type stuff that you do, LaughNgamez, like we just heard from Sugar that he's not really necessarily trying to build out the apprentice, just kind of keep it going. Do you have like ambitions to make the Africa World tournaments bigger? Are you really happy with the type of content that it is right now, or how does that work for you?
I guess, I mean, we've been doing pretty much the same thing for about 2.5 years at this point. Like, so we've kind of landed on something that works for myself and works for Africa. Like, I obviously commentate whenever I can and organize events whenever I can, but the format that we've got, just like the usual 4-man invitational, it works for the players in the sense that they get guaranteed a couple bucks for coming out. We can sort of dictate the matches to make sure that they're exciting ones for people to come see, and they're not like necessarily like a huge multi-day thing. As far as like branching out, we have done some other events, like every now and then we'll do like, say, like an 8-player or something like that. And so we are open to try new things, but what we've got really has seemed to work. Like, because part of organizing tournaments is that you'll basically end up with like the more players that you have in a tournament, in an online tournament, at least, these players are all over the world. They've got their own lives. The more likely you're going to have, say, like a player not show up or an issue or something like that. Yeah. And so as far as creating the most consistent events go, what we've got really seems to work. 4 players, shoot in match times. So we're not really likely to have like a forfeit or someone missing the time or anything like that. If we say expanded it to 8 players, I mean, we could maybe mess around with the format a bit more, but the like the odds that something would interrupt the consistency of events would be much more likely in an online format.
Mm-hmm. All right. Excuse me. Great to learn all that stuff. Let's transition a little bit to the casting / broadcasting side of this. I'm wondering about how you guys go, like, decide to use your time for that. And then, like, do you want a co-caster? Do you want to do it alone? What are kind of the trials and tribulations of casting online? Because, like, for instance, Rapid, you're casting in the middle of the night with people that live in Europe from Korea, right? So and then there's like, are you in the game? Are you doing it from a VOD? How are you lining up what you're looking at? Just kind of talk to me some about what it's like to cast these online events, because it's certainly nothing like what I do in a studio.
Yeah, I'll just like start, and maybe this will resonate with Sugar or LaughNgamez. Because for me, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, and so when I first started getting involved in esports, I was not like around anywhere that I could go, like unless I wanted to drive like literally 1,000 miles. Like there's just not any esports out there. I was looking, and so I was like, well, you know, how do I do this? And we didn't really have great internet when I first started, but then eventually we got a DSL line. And so that really allowed me to kind of pursue broadcast, or not broadcasting, but you know, being a part of tournaments. And I never had a good enough internet connection or computer to be the broadcaster, but I was brought on as a co-caster a lot of times, and so that got me kind of used to this this, I don't know, ecosystem where I would be on a broadcast, but just as a part added to it. And then as I wanted to work on more and more events, esports started growing a lot bigger, and they started happening all over the world. And so obviously I can't just cast in my time zone. And this caused me endless problems when I was finishing high school, and even when I moved back home after college. because like I'm casting some Chinese Hearthstone tournament at 4 a.m, and like nobody's happy that I'm doing that. Like it's just a little bit of a struggle. So it's always been something that's kind of been a part of my life, like broadcasting at weird hours for wacky tournaments around the world. Because for a long time, I'm just trying to make it, so I'm just doing literally everything. Like if there's like a Vietnamese Age of Empires tournament out there, I'm going for it. So it's it was always just kind of part of like the game, but also I just really loved it because for a long time, even when I wasn't working on Starcraft primarily, there are just people playing esports everywhere in the world, and a lot of them just have the sickest, most ludicrous story. Like this kid, I was casting this like Turkish MOBA tournament, and this kid literally takes his dad to the hospital and then drives home so he can play his online tournament match for this thing. Somebody told me that, I was like this is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard of. It's kind of like Lenok checking himself out of the hospital to go play GSL. I'm just like, are you kidding me? This stuff is crazy. And this exists everywhere. It's happening in crazy, stupid tournaments you don't care or hear about, and it's just there. And so I really got used to the whole like broadcast at weird hours. And a lot of times this is tournaments that only have one person working on it, like solo casting. And I'll just be like, hey man, do you want me to help out? Or like, what can I do here? I'm really interested in working on this. And most of the time they're pretty interested. So if you're looking to either have a co-caster, there's a ton out there, or if you are looking to co-cast, just like, reach out. That's kind of what I did. And then eventually people started reaching out to me, and it kind of worked both ways.
Okay. LaughNgamez, what is the casting like for you? Are you the one actually making it, or is it Falcon Paladin when you cast with him, or how does that whole thing work together?
For most of the events I do, I'm the sole organizer and organizer. So I do sort out the players, sort out the lobbies, sort out the stream and everything. So it's kind of like, and I'm lucky to have Falcon Paladin cast with me sometimes, or another co-caster. I casted with Creighton the other day before he left Korea, so that was really fun. But yeah, it can be quite a bit to be the event organizer, to be the person trying to organize all the players, and if there is like a mishap or something, also trying to be on stream, make sure the stream's running and everything. And with Canadian internet and whatnot, for those of you that don't know, we've got like the worst, or like a worse Canadian version of Comcast in a sense. So like,
that sounds
hard to
horrible.
imagine.
Oh god.
Yeah, like I can just barely stream basically. And as far as like the casting the events and everything goes, like just say waking up to do like an event or something, I did that for like a fair bit with like a WESG, but basically I'll do whatever my schedule can let me do outside of university or other commitments. So like, and part of what makes that more doable is working with like a Frico or other events that I can set the time and everything usually. So I don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to cast. And because I'm not trying to make like go full-time casting, like it's not like I've put it all on or anything like that. So I don't have to beat myself up if I don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. to do an event or anything like that. I mean, I probably would if I didn't have something to do the next day, right? And very well may do in the future. But yeah, I mean, you just do whatever you can and you manage.
Cool. Sugar, how do you put together casters for your events, and if you ever cast or anything like that? How's that work out?
Well, so I take a different approach from what LaughNgamez and Rapid did with the whole casting thing. So I don't cast my events myself. I'll reach out to other casters, usually Fair Dragon or Cold Terran, cast my events for me. And because the way the NA Apprentice tournaments work, the matches aren't played live. Like the players will play their matches in their own time. So usually the casters will cast these matches from replays. And like I just basically decided to do it this way just to make my life, way easier, because as other tournament organizers may know, it's very hard sometimes to get players to show up at the same time for an event.
No doubt.
Yeah, I've had plenty of nightmares in the past, so one day I just decided, enough is enough. Like, I'm gonna make my life easier just by having these players play in their own time, and then I'll just collect the replays.
Yeah, I think that's always a lot safer, no doubt.
Yeah, very safe. Yeah.
Yeah. I do wonder from you guys, like Rapid, obviously you are a professional caster. This is your full-time job, casting. Now LaughNgamez, I mean, you go to school, and Sugar, you said you were basically spending your own money for this. I wonder if you guys have certain goals or milestones that you're looking to hit. Are you looking to work in esports in the future? Is this just a hobby, or, you know, just overall for yourselves? What are your ambitions, if any?
I guess if I go as far as like working full time in esports go, it's like a matter of opportunity and also geography in a sense. Like West Coast of Canada, there's not like a ton of esports stuff going on. Like the first LAN tournament since I've been in Starcraft 2 is happening in like a week or two, and I'm actually really excited about that, or the first sizable LAN in a sense. So it's partially just like a matter of opportunity. And the way that I look at it is, since I'm not in the position that I have to do everything like full time, I don't really have to stress about be like, oh man, do I want to go full time or not, or make a run at that. But what I seem to be doing right now with like organizing events for Afrika seems to be working, and casting pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. It seems to be going good, and maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe some new opportunities will come up and I'll say, yeah, I want to do something that will require more of a commitment or something like that. And I definitely would consider something like that, or even say I start working a 9 to 5 again, then maybe I'll just set aside what other time I have or anything to do regular casting that I consider really like a full-time job or something like that.
Okay, cool. Sugar, what about you?
So I work full time right now, so I'm just mainly doing this as a hobby. Like, if it brings me more opportunities, you know, that'll be great, but I'm not actively looking for it. Like, I'm just happy doing my part for the community right now.
Oh, very cool.
I would say that like every time somebody's like, so are you a professional caster? I'm like, well, if you mean I can't hold down a real job, then like, yeah, sure. This is what I do in lieu of being a service to society. So I mean, there's this sick Kobe Bryant interview. I think it was like Sports Center, was like 10 years ago or something. And they asked him, it's like, what would you do if you weren't playing basketball? And he said, I'd probably be homeless or something. And obviously that's kind of a joke, but the idea is that like sometimes there's just like one thing that you can do, and that's just it. So for me, like, I mean, I've worked in like the professional, like corporate sector for a little bit, totally miserable. I hate cubicles. I hate like performance reports. Like it's so soulless and mind numbing. And I was surrounded by these friends growing up that worked like dead end retail jobs. And they're all just like continually complaining. It's like, I wish my life would change. I was like, oh my God, get me out of here. I can't do this. It was so bad. And so I went on this like little crazy adventure of just like, I mean, what if I just did what I wanted to do and not what other people wanted me to do? And, you know, here I am to
Sure.
whatever level of success this is. And I think that as far as goals, it's really important to set those for yourself in all points in your life. But I was reading this really sick article by Justin Kahn. He's the Justin from Justin TV, which became Twitch. He's a serial entrepreneur, millionaire, super successful, and he's really been delving a lot into like personal happiness and goals and what it means. And basically, a lot of people delay their happiness or their life goals until way later on, and they tell themselves in their mind, "I'm supposed to be miserable now so I can be happy later," which is total stupidity. Because if you're like, the more present you are, the more like fulfilled and happy you can truly be. And so like for me, it started out just like doing the most ridiculous, stupid things for esports. I was casting like 20 hours a day for $0, falling asleep on air. It was just like the stupidest things you could ever do. But I was just like, I just got to do it. I just got to do it. And now I'm a lot more realistic about that. I'm like, I would love to do this one thing. So I work really hard at trying to do that. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. So as far as like goals were, when I first started out, I was just like, well, I just want to like cast a thing that's on the internet. So sick, killed it. And then after a while, I was just like, okay, I want to get paid to go to LAN. And then I was like, I want to travel internationally. And then my next goal was like, I want to get paid to live a different place and cast there. And so then that happened. And then I was like, well, I want to like travel and live overseas. And that like basically did not happen a million times, and then finally it happened, and now I'm out here in Korea. So just little tiny things, and I would say it's actually so remarkable. Day 9 has these 30-day projects that he really is a huge advocate of, and I think that, but also longer term, setting goals for yourself that you are totally uncompromising about, that you are willing to do just absolutely anything. The more things that try to stop you from doing that thing tells you you're probably on the right track. So I think to a large extent, life is about what it takes to stop you, and it's, you know, whatever level of success you achieve is because of how much you push back against that. So that's kind of my goal right now, is to just, you know, yeah, go dope places, do dope stuff.
Dope. Cool. All right, excellent. Is there anything else that you guys want the scene to know about your smaller tournaments, like ways that they could help? You know, obviously it can be a little bit hard to get word out about some of these things that, you know, like for instance, GSL and WCS, like Blizzard blasts the horn and it seems like everyone watches them. So it's not hard to advertise those. But for your guys' in particular tournaments, you know, Rapid, all the Brood Wars, smaller stuff that you do, and all the world, Africa World stuff, and NA Apprentice and the AlphaX stuff. What can people do? What would be like a helpful way to kind of bolster these events for you guys? For
Smash that like button.
Yeah.
Leave a comment down below.
Mr. YouTube over here.
Follow me on Instagram. RAPiDCasting everywhere. I honestly just like tell people about it, talk about it. You can always tell what people love. I'll hear people tell me all the time. It's like, wow, I'm really passionate about this thing. I'm like, oh yeah, really? Are you? Like, do you ever like tweet about this? Do you ever like tell your family about this? Like what is it that you actually truly care about? And if it's esports, that's great. I mean, if it's not, you know, go do something else that you actually care about. But like, I think the best thing for any tournament is just telling other people about it, whether you like make some tweet to your 5 followers or whatever, or like post it on your Facebook page, or just like if it's something you're excited about, just like talk about it. I feel like when I was growing up, I was I didn't know anybody that played video games. I was always really afraid to talk about this weird stuff I was into because 0 people got it. And I really do regret that, because now that I do it a lot, people are just like, what are you talking about, man? And it's an opportunity to kind of open their eyes to something that I think is absolutely amazing. And I think that a lot of people would think it's amazing if they had somebody to show it to them. And I think that for all of you guys watching Pylon's show, or if you're watching the VOD for this later, or if you're watching some like, you know, 10 viewer tournament or 10,000 viewer tournament, just like talk about it. Because I think that sense of community and that sense of bringing people into the community has always been what drew me to Starcraft initially, and just to esports in general. So just like, you know, get out there and talk about it.
Cool. Sugar, what do you think?
Yeah.
How can people help to bolster your stuff?
I think the best way to do it, I'm just gonna plug myself in here, is to
please.
follow me on Twitter at SugarSC2, and I actually have another Twitter account that I use to promote NA Apprentice stuff. So it's called Sports Team Gaming. So it's Twitter.
Oh, you're part of that too. Okay,
Yeah.
We learned about Sports Team Gaming last week. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's our meme content team. But you know, in order to make it look a bit professional, like I post NA Apprentice stuff on it at least.
Excellent.
So be sure to follow those 2 accounts if you want to know more about the events.
That seems to be an up and coming Twitter account for StarCraft right now.
Yeah.
And what about you, LaughNgamez? So how can people help your content and promote?
I mean, I say it at the end of every video I do on YouTube, like and subscribe. Like, honestly, checking, just being willing to just show your support for content. Like, you may be someone who just automatically tunes into StarCraft every day, and it's like, I'm going to watch this content every day regardless whether I like it or not. But that might be the difference between, say, someone else seeing the content and not just the guy who watches maybe a StarCraft video a week. Might be exposed to some new content if you're the person who shares it. So like it's definitely worth helping put out our content out there. And also just like a small side note, like as far as doing content specifically, which a big chunk of it is for on Africa TV, I'm sure AlphaX and everyone can relate, like streaming platforms and everything, everyone has a favorite, which is Twitch in the most case for most people. But like some people would try out like Africa TV once, say 3 years ago, and it would buffer. They'd be like, well, I'm just not going to check out that content. Like, if someone's been making content for years and you didn't like it, say years ago or something like that, or you had a hard time devouring it in a sense or consuming it in a sense, give it another shot. Like it's always worth it just to try out new content. If someone's out there making something for years, give it another shot, even if you didn't like it the first time or anything, or you had an issue the first time or something like that.
Yeah, people definitely improve a hell of a lot over time. You watch some early stuff from someone, it might be kind of cringe, and then they can become quite good. And definitely, yeah, as well, a lot of people have old memories about the Africa TV broadcasting, stuff lagging and stuff. And it's obviously gotten a lot better over the years, and they're supporting a lot of your content. So people should check that out again. All right, that's excellent. Thank you so much, guys, for kind of enlightening us what it is for some of these smaller tournaments. I hope that people can check them out and learn about them a little bit more and watch your stuff, because again, this is important stuff. It puts money in the pockets of pro gamers. It gives some of the more amateur players stuff to practice. In the case of the stuff you're doing in Brood War Rapid, that's the foreigners. That's basically foreigner tournaments. There's no real foreign pro scene in Brood War, so that's super important there as well. All right, so we have a couple other quick things to talk about, and then we will get into the Patreon questions. First off, GSL Finals coming up this weekend. It's going to be Rogue going up against Trap.
Yeah. Plan about 45 minutes of your day to watch all 4 games, but then
all 4. Man. So you've got your mind made up then.
All I'm trying to say is, like,
who's going to win then?
Illegal has Rogue at a 75% chance to win 4-0. So
yeah, but what did it have Maru at?
Okay, well.
Ooh, yeah, Rapid. Eat that, Mr. Ligulac.
Maru sucks, guys. What am I gonna say?
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Who are you guys taking in the score for this match?
I think Rogue's gonna take it. Just because, like, I feel that Rogue, I'm going to say that it is going to be like a 4-1 for Rogue. I want to say Trap's not going to win this one either. And that's got to be because Rogue and Trap live in the same team house. And so Rogue probably knows most of Trap's dirty PvZ builds.
Yeah.
Well, but then again, Maru and Trap also lived in the same team house.
That's also true, but then that's Maru's dirty builds as well.
Yeah, right. Okay, so 4-1 for Rogue coming from Laughing Games. Sugar, what are you thinking?
Well, I feel like Trap has just been in better shape throughout the whole year, but like Rogue, like I think this happened back in 2017 as well. Like at the end of the year, he just turned beast mode on. Like like he wants to go to BlizzCon, like, and nobody's gonna stop him. So like I want to say Rogue is gonna win here as well, like maybe 4-2.
Okay. Rapid, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely a 4-0 Rogue. I mean, I'm just like, I feel like the four, like everybody's like, well, I would like to see a 4-3 because I really like Starcraft and more of the. No. Okay, so like
there's Game 7.
You can tell a lot about somebody by what they predict about games outside of like actual reasoning, and I feel like that's what most people do. So basically, if you predict 4-0, then you have confidence, and so your victory is not in the accurate prediction. It is in the force of faith and conviction behind your confidence. So I'm winning right now by making a bold, confident prediction. Whether or not that's true in the future, nobody's going to remember what I said, and if they do, then they contact me again, and that's what we like to call impressions. So anyway, I think if you vote,
I feel like you just summed up my career, but go ahead.
It's not like I don't have notes about this, Artosis. The 4-1 prediction is like confidence, but you're being a little bit of a bitch. Like, just commit. All right.
Oh my God.
I'm not quite sure enough in my prediction, so I'm gonna be a nice guy. You know what? It's not called Nice Guy Craft, guys. It's called Starcraft, and only one player gets to be a star, and that's Rogue. So 4-0. Oh yeah, I didn't cover 4-2. 4-2 is the worst of all worlds. 4-2 is what Magellan got into when he crested Cape Horn. It's called the Doldrums. It's what are you doing here? Who predicts somebody to win 2 games in a best of 7? What does that say about the player? It says, wow, I'm good enough to not be good enough. Sick, dude. You're fucking killing it. So 4-0, I feel like it's the only way to go. Because even if you pick 4-0 and you pick the wrong player to be 4-0, like, who cares? You made a bold prediction. You know what? How valid are predictions? Did I predict the winner right now? Nobody knows. You know what's going to happen after people will know the answer? Somebody's going to make a post about this, and he's going to be like, well, I noticed that before the games happened, Rap had predicted exactly the wrong answer. Doesn't that mean that he's stupid? I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. So that guy is actually the stupid one. And so I feel like I'm judging you guys all super hard right now.
It's okay. You can apologize the next time I'm in Korea. You're wrong.
Wow.
I'll get right on that, my dude.
Wow. Well, that was quite the explanation of your prediction.
Wait, hold on. What about 4-3 though? What are you
I feel like
about?
4-3 is the guy that watches. Tasteless has a bit about this fan. Like 4-3 is the guy that watches GSL and then thinks to himself, "I can't wait to get home and play more Starcraft, guys." I'm like, okay, guys, like there's a limit. I mean, I'm super fans are what make the world go round. But I live in Korea, and if I meet one more BTS fan that spends their rent money on buying a calendar, I'm just gonna. It's not gonna be fun.
Oh man, that was very specific. Wow,
that was very specific.
All I'm trying to say is that 4-3, like, yes, I would love to stay there until like 1 a.m. watching StarCraft, but I would also like to not have to pay a $30 taxi fee. So, like, yes, I want good StarCraft, but just enough of good StarCraft.
Okay.
all right.
Let me say a couple things. First off, yeah, 4-3, the only time that prediction was ever correct is that's like a TVT finals prediction. That's what that is. That's like Maru TY.
Yep.
You can predict a 4-3 there. That sounds right. These other matchups that aren't mirrors, or the thing is the other mirrors are almost too volatile to get a 4-3. But TVT, you're like, okay, yeah, that's a 4-3 right there. But I'm going with the 4-2. I'm going around the South Cape, and
Yeah,
I'm going with the 4-2.
the dull option. I like it.
Yeah, I'm in the doldrums, as Rapid said. No, I think I think that Trap definitely can take a couple maps there, unless he brings a completely new style. Like unless he has figured out a new Blink Colossus style or something. I've seen some of these guys busting it out in Europe a little bit here and there, and I'm interested. But with the same old junk, you're not going to be able to beat Rogue more than a couple games, I think. So, okay. Thank you guys for your predictions. Make sure everyone that you watch, I believe it starts at 5 p.m. on Saturday KST. So that's 4 hours after our normal Saturday start time. So that'll be like very late night Friday for Americans, and maybe around 10 a.m.-ish for Europe for CEST, I believe, right around there. Anyways, whatever. Check that out. That is GSL. And the very last thing that we have before we get into anything else would be the StarCraft 1 patch notes, which is obviously this is a very quick one because you never get balance updates or anything in StarCraft 1. But here are the patch notes. Let's take a look-see. So I'll just read them over real quick.
Amazing patch, by the way. It's a
good patch.
So
Any
good.
patch
It's
for
so
Brood
good.
War we're pretty happy with.
Yeah, I can't say enough about this.
So features and improvements. Players may now select their preferred colors in unranked multiplayer games. Additionally, we've extended the available color palette. Worker counts have been added to the replay UI.
Best change ever. Okay, just stop right there. I can't tell. So there's this like the elitist Brood War community, right? And it's like, you know, whatever memes you want to make about that. But like the idea is how much information is too much information. And I think everybody kind of agrees that like production tabs in StarCraft 1 is too much information because there's like there's an old school like nostalgic like glory that comes from having to pay attention. I feel like modern day esports don't expect the audience to pay attention, and you have to be good to watch Brood War. Like if you don't know what's happening, it's kind of fun to watch and stuff, but if you're paying attention, you're like, okay, there's that tech building, he's got this many factories, and you're doing all this stuff in your head. That's cool. And it would be kind of weird to just fill the screen with all these stats so that if you didn't pay attention, you could just go check that. But workers is the perfect amount of like a little bit more information, but not too much information. It's so sick, but it is a little bit like the supply count where you look at that and you're like, oh, that guy's going to win. Like, So yeah, I'd say 75% good, 25% bad.
Yeah, it's actually really hard to count workers in StarCraft 1. Like I watch a lot of replays, and to count workers, you have to generally box and add up 3 numbers in your head, which obviously that's not hard, but you're boxing like 5 or 6 times because you'll like grab too many in an area and you're like, okay, wait a minute, there's 12 SCVs down here at least. So I gotta do a smaller box now, and now a middle box, and then a top box. And it's
crucially enough, I think it's
nice.
only displays in replays, not on live games.
Yes. Very important. Additional voice lines for the game start and game end have been added to the Voices of Legend announcer packs. Players in unranked multiplayer games must now choose a race before a game can start. This should help folks that get stuck with a race they didn't intend to play, and hopefully result with fewer people immediately leaving games. You'd be surprised how many custom games get restarted because you're chatting and you don't choose your race. It's actually, when I first read this patch, I was like, people are stupid. But then I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, I do that plenty in custom games, actually. Okay. Also, players will rejoin their previously used chat channels when logging back into Battle.net, just in case you don't like the default channels, because why would you ever like those? Because there's like basically 2 Korean guys in it talking about how your mother is a dog or something. It's like very rude chat channels. And other string limits for map makers, arbitrary RGB color selection for map makers, minor bug fixes. So the other one that we didn't really mention is you can choose your color in games where it's not better, which is pretty cool. And there's more colors now, right?
So they added,
you can pick black.
They added black and gray. Black Protoss. It's the sickest.
I can't imagine.
So cool. It's so cool. It's like they added more skins to the game. Black Protoss is by far just it looks so dope. And then gray is like teal or cyan. The actual color is malachite, but the idea is that it's a color that looks like other colors on the map. So like if you have a malachite colored dropship in your mineral line, what does that look like on the minimap? Does that look like a mineral patch that's flying across the map that could kill you? It's like, yes, okay, that's fine. But gray is another color. It's like, what if you're playing on space platform tile set, or I forget the actual name of that, but it's just like, well, this whole thing is just light gray and dark gray, and here's another shade of gray. So eventually we'll have 50 of those, and by then we'll be able to pick the correct one.
Yes. Well, everyone should be using Shift Tab to switch over their enemies to red and themselves to green, regardless. So
that's right.
Definitely do that, guys. One Shift Tab won't change your color on the screen.
Except that you can't do that when you're casting. When is the hotkey where we're allowed to change colors while we're casting?
In a replay, you can change colors.
So yes, but in a live game, you can't, because it reveals the other person's starting location because of a map doodad or something stupid.
Damn.
Yeah, somebody told me that, and I was like, that is the dumbest reason I've ever heard. I haven't fact checked that, so if that's totally wrong, then whatever. But I just know you can't do it in live games, and I think if I have to cast another yellow Protoss versus orange Protoss on a desert tile set, I will actually experience physical pain.
That is the most painful thing in the entire universe is orange versus yellow. They look so similar. But all in all, looks like a great patch overall. Little small things, but that's what's appreciated in Brood War, because we don't ever get balanced patches anyways. So anything you add in is like, oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
Shout out to Matt Grant and the kids. Another successful patch out there.
Yeah. So that does it for our regular topics. I think it's time to jump into the priority Patreon questions.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Here we go.
Of course, if you want to ask a priority question and you are a Patreon subscriber, go ahead to thepylonshow.com. We have a button up at the top where you can drop your questions, and we'll always answer them at the end. So let's get into it. All right. Paragliber asks, how much and what do casters/players eat at all-day events like BlizzCon or DreamHack?
Ooh.
I think the food that is sold at such events isn't always great. Or does casting/playing work better on an empty stomach anyway? Tasteless once said he had a food coma from eating too much before a cast.
So the way that you find out what's being served to backstage people is you go to Twitter and you search the hashtag esports catering, and you'll find all of Wax Angel's tweets about the gross food that they serve. But most of the time, it's actually pretty good. I know at least a lot of the tournaments I've been at, I've only been at like a couple of like kind of ghetto ones that had like really bad food. Most of them are pretty good. I would say that. No, I'm not going to say that. But anyway, I've always been very excited, but I have very low standards, so maybe that's what's going on there.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's definitely up and down and different for different events. Like, for instance, at BlizzCon, the catering is really, really good. A big selection of food and a lot of healthy foods as well as some junk foods. At some events, you'll literally go in and there will be like a box of candy bars on the table or no food. I'm not sure which one of those is better. I'm leaning towards the no food. But yeah, there's a big range, and I wonder. I mean, you shouldn't eat something heavy before a cast. I think that people basically know this. You should try to keep in touch with your body and what gives you energy and what does not. That's like a very important life skill. So like eat bananas and not a piece of cake before you cast, I guess. All right. Thank you for the question. Saint Zero asks, I'm always thinking Brood War with my questions, so this one could be for SC2 also. What really wild build did you see like 1 or 2 times in a pro game would be really awesome if it became really meta for some reason? Snow's 4X Robo Mass Reaver vs. Rain or Nada's Nuke Game vs. Larva, for example. Much love. So we'll answer this both for StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1. What have you guys seen that was crazy that you think would be really cool if it became more standard?
I remember way back in the day, there used to be these like early Ghost Rush builds. I think was it Keen that was really doing a lot of these? It was just like really, or Gumiho actually did quite a few of these too.
Oh yeah, like Special TY and Gumiho. I think all did a lot of those. Yeah,
yeah.
Those were cool.
Ghosts are like my fetish unit, man. I just want them to be good so bad. When they got the EMP radius upgrade, I'm just like, oh. When I see the EMP radius upgrade, I think yes. When I see building early ghosts, I think no. But I want to think yes for that one too. So anybody that can make that happen is just my hero.
Okay. What about you guys? What have you seen that you would like to see more of?
I like anything that like uses anything to its fullest potential. So like I can't name a specific pro gamer who did it, but basically the early Protoss pushes that use just like a prism, like you get stalkers, you go in just with a prism, not even blink, and you just hit early. And then you just see the Protoss just microing the Terran, and then the Terran's just like, well, that's GG, because they didn't build a bunker.
Well, for me personally, like in StarCraft 2, I loved abusing Reapers, like 3x Reaper. So I would really love for that to come back. And this has to do with maps especially. Like, I wish we had better Reaper maps just so I can abuse that more.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I have that feeling too, and I go back and I watch 2012 DreamHack Morrow versus Hydra and watch like 18 Reapers make a grown man cry. It's a good time.
Yeah, that was 2010 though.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Artosis.
Terrible memory. Yeah, no, so the one thing I mentioned just briefly when we were talking about GSL, but I've seen like a couple Europeans use, so I think it was like maybe like Hellraiser and Gung Fu Banda or something, use some like Blink Colossus play against Zerg, which is obviously a very old style, but I would love to see something like that rotate in for a little bit, just to really mix up the PvZ metagame. I think that'd be really fun. As for StarCraft 1, I want to see some build where you make a scout. That would be really fun, because you never see it.
Yeah. So first of all, now that Desperado is in STPL, it's got double gas main. I'm like, that just screams like build scouts. It's also like very bad, but there's this. Okay, thank you, Dan. There's also this Scout Reaver PvZ build that DeWalt and I think Bonneth have both done a couple of times in like BSL and STPL. It looks cool, and you can hold on 0 money forever. But ultimately, you're building scouts. So, but they are fantastic units. They're just way too overpriced. So
yeah. All right, Say Zero, thank you for the question. Anescu asks, force fields were never meant to be used to control fights the way they are now. What other examples are there of things which are now used in ways the developers never intended? Not that this is a problem, of course.
Wait, so what were force fields meant for then?
Yeah,
I think that they were originally designed as a defensive mechanism, right? To block a ramp or to stop someone from getting you, rather than to be like, oh, I'm going to kill you now. So that's, I think that went against what they originally thought. But that's, I mean, I think that's the beauty of StarCraft, is that nothing is exactly how you thought it would be. What are some other things that you guys have seen like that you're like, they couldn't have meant that this is how it's supposed to be?
The Dark Pylon.
What?
So in the beta for StarCraft, they had this unit called the Dark Pylon, and it was the macro mechanic for Protoss. And you built it, and all of your workers within its radius moved faster, which is obviously incredibly broken. But they didn't. There was that. There was what was the other thing? I think the Banshee speed upgrade was like criminally underused for a long time, and then like Innovation and a couple other people just start like killing everything with Banshees. Maru did it for a while there too. And I was just like, they don't actually expect this to be as good as it is. The Cyclone lock-on upgrade, back when you used to like kill every Protoss player by like sitting one Cyclone outside their Nexus and killing their Nexus and their Pylon from a million miles away. I was just like, I don't know if that's working as intended. But most of this stuff gets patched out. The StarCraft balance team is usually pretty good at taking that out of the game.
Okay. What are some things you guys think?
Well, Liberators. I don't think they intended for them just to set up shop right behind your mineral line and just deal with it, basically.
Especially with range in the early Legacy of the Void maps. Like when they designed those maps, they did not have that in mind. Like, oh my god. Like Dust Towers, if you remember that. Like it was like one of the oldest Legacy of the Void maps. Like they didn't think of that. Also, I think unrelated, like the Oracle bugs. Like I forgot exactly how it worked, but Printf made a video about it.
Yeah, this super fast shooting, like the kill under shield battery thing. Yeah,
I was getting an extra hit in. I think a lot of this stuff, some of the weird things that people just don't remember. I forget what map it was, but there was a map in pro WCS games that randomly, incorrectly had way more minerals at one base. You remember this, Artosis?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just like, how does that way? Like, you just don't expect that to be.
It was
thing.
One of the thirds on. Was it Port Alexander? Had
I want to say
Port Alexander.
Yeah. It
Not
just
both
had
of them,
incredible
just one
amounts
of them.
more.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah. So obviously that's really strange. And this is like, in truth, one of my favorite things about esports. And one of the reasons why StarCraft 1 specifically is a good game, why Super Smash Bros. Melee is a good game, is because it works in ways the designers did not intend it. And I think that is the closest you can get to emulating real life, because real life does not work the way that you intend it. And obviously with games, good game designers are able to immerse you in an experience where things are just compelling and you love to watch it, like, most good games right now. But when you have a game that is so magical, has like, there are parts, I remember Grant tweeted about this, or maybe I was just talking to him about StarCraft 1 code. There are parts that just say, this is the black magic part, or don't touch this unless you talk to one of the programmers first. And I'm just like, that is so sick, because like the interactions between units floating on top of each other in Brood War is like completely ludicrous. Who would deliberately program that? Or wave dashing in Melee, or any of the crazy stuff you do in like CSGO or other games. I'm just like, that is what just makes it so magical to me. So all that stuff is completely unintended and yet completely awesome at the same time.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that sentiment, especially like I think in Brood War, everything wasn't intended to work as it works, and that helped with the design of StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
The unit I want to bring up is the Battlecruiser. I think they probably put in the jump because they're like, now you can make them because you won't just lose them. I don't think they expected people to immediately make a Battlecruiser off 4 Hellions and jump it into the Zerg base to kill them. So I think that wasn't the intent of that.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, it used to be energy based. It didn't used to have a cooldown, so there used to be energy battle cruisers. And I think when they first added tactical jump, it was an energy thing.
Yeah.
So you could jump it. You could like just jump it all around. If you weren't jumping your battle cruisers, you could jump it there, kill everything, and jump it away. Obviously, you usually didn't have that much energy, but I'm glad it's on a 70-second cooldown.
Yeah, I think they removed the energy because of like High Templar and feedback.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So you mean they had a counter and they didn't like that, so they took away the counter.
Exactly.
I was always thinking
try it again. Yeah, that's what happened.
I was always thinking that they should move Blink into something that's energy based, because that would be so hilarious to have like 3 blinks in a row.
Well, then like
You blink in, you hit it, you blink out. It's like, what was that? Oh my god!
But then for most players, like their stalkers don't all have the same amount of energy, so you go for the sick blink in, but like only 3 of your stalkers blink in. You just lose the game.
Or they blink in and you EMP them and they can't blink out. Oh no!
Justice. Oh, if EMP disabled abilities, I think that would actually be really sick.
No, that wouldn't. No,
Protoss
that
would
would
not
be
think
sticking
that
the
would be
wrong way.
sick.
Yeah, that
Well,
would
as
be
a Terran player, that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway.
Thank you for the question, Inescu. Hyper Turtle asks, I keep earning more sprays and emotes in StarCraft 2. Is there any way you use them that isn't considered BM?
But isn't
absolutely
that
not.
The point?
Yeah, the point is to flaunt them.
Why would anyone want that? Like, I want more things. I want them to put the oops emote back in Hearthstone. Like, I need more ways that I can make my opponent have a bad game. Like, I feel like half of maybe like some percentage of competitive gaming, especially 1v1, is like so that I can feel good, but the other half is like my ability to make my opponent feel bad. So
that's really important. Yeah. If people didn't make me feel bad every day, then I don't know what I would do.
Right.
All right, thank you for the question, Hyperturtle. Nahyan asks, at what point did you notice that you want to specifically improve on casting, and how did your deliberate practice look like? Did you guys have any moment where you're like, you know what, I want to be a better caster? And how did you practice that?
I think my big moment was like I think the hardest thing to do is like watch your own VODs back. That's just horrifying.
Yeah, like
it's just the most painful thing in the world to listen to yourself. Like there's nobody who is worse than the you that you has to listen to. Like it's just so bad.
When people say that they like me as a caster and then I watch myself, I'm like, everyone's stupid. This is awful.
Yeah, if doing like a YouTube comment, it's ridiculous how quick the turnaround is. Like you can just do like a video, like it's like, all right, I'll go to upload this, and then you'll watch it. You're like, this is garbage.
yeah. It's painful. I don't know if I had a point where I wanted to specifically improve. I guess I always kind of try to improve at everything, and I definitely did not do deliberate practice to do it. I just tried to get better and think and read comments about it and talk to people about it. So deliberate practice is an actual idea of a way to practice, and I definitely didn't do that, and I don't know about any commentators that have done that, but
yeah, so for example, I think the biggest bastion of deliberate commentator practice is for a lot of the League of Legends broadcasts. There's like a very like formulaic approach that is taken to it, and there's definitely upsides and downsides to that, but the big upside is that a lot of casters have like very bad tag word usage, or like repetitive words that they go back to, or just words that don't mean what they think they mean. And so a lot of deliberate practice can get rid of and like refine a lot of those aspects of your casting, like the technical kind. But ultimately, nothing will make you a good caster if you are a bad caster. So you can like glaze over that with a lot of like really good like effort. But I think ultimately what Artosis is talking about is that it's kind of a mindset. So you want to give yourself all the resources you need to like just kind of put yourself in a good place, and a lot of that is like just being prepared or whatever. But it's not necessarily something like everybody's different. So depends
I think practicing will always make you better, but if things become so formulaic that you can actually consistently use deliberate practice as the concept as what it is, then I think that would actually make casting a little bit worse, because you want your own flair in there. So it's hard to boil down a human into something that can be deliberate practiced and have that be good over the long term, I think. All right, thank you for the question, Nahyan. Trankall asks, since the new units from Legacy of the Void was introduced, the Adept is the only unit that has little to no use past early game scouting / harass or glaive all-ins. Should Blizzard rework that? Also, how come Terrans get to brag about micro when Cyclone and BCs just lock on and auto attack when they move? Okay. So first things first, the important part of this question. Sugar.
Yeah.
How come Terrans get to brag about micro when Cyclones and BCs just shoot while they move?
Well, I mean, you're technically microing the Cyclone in BC, so that's my argument there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just right clicking.
Yeah.
Honestly, if anyone brags about micro and cyclones, they're not very good, right? Like, I'm honestly someone that was like, I like the old cyclone, man. It was better watching a Terran micro like the old machine gun cyclones
The
with a
A-move cyclone,
medivac than just the ones that just lock on and just retreat. Like it's, but yeah,
I don't like the
micro
Cyclone
whatever you
overall.
want.
I think Cyclones are stupid. What about the Adepts? Do you? I personally disagree that they aren't useful in the late game. I think they do have use. I think that we saw that.
Like
I saw that from
late game. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Like you make
can
like
be
two
used
two
harass-
adepts, put them in a prism, and then harass the
Yeah.
third.
Absolutely, and like just the fact that they can shade in and they aren't taking damage, they can kind of go past things. That's useful, and they also can be useful. Everyone goes like charge, charge and stalkers and Colossus and like some Psystorm, but that doesn't always work as well as having Adepts instead of Zealots. And I saw someone do that. Who did that the other day? And I was so happy because I had been talking about that, how it's like, it's not just always Zealots in the late game. You can utilize Adepts there as well, because you don't always want your shit shooting forward, and Adepts can tank a lot of damage and they have range attack. So if you're microing a ball consistently, you see how many times people charge forward, the Zealots don't even hit, then they walk backwards while Marauders slow them down. Adepts don't do that. It's like a very different feel, and they actually do have use.
Yeah, I would say just because a thing isn't used doesn't mean it doesn't have a use that people are too stupid to figure out. Like, that's one of the things I really like about Brood War is like you'll have units that are just completely useless, and then they come back in and are super meta. Stuff like Valkyrie was like really bad for a long time. Corsairs were like almost totally useless for a long time, and then people were like, wait a second, you can kill every Mutalist with these things. So like everything kind of goes around and comes around depending on like either consistent balance patches, which can bring things back, or just people desperately trying to figure out a way to get good.
All right, thank you for the question, Trankall. Some drunk Canadian asks, as someone who has aspirations of becoming a StarCraft 2 tournament organizer, what would be some things I should focus on that normally is forgotten about, and 2, some things I should avoid that organizers focus too much energy on? Sending much love from the friendly True North, strong and free. What do you guys think? This guy is looking to do some stuff kind of like you guys do. What are some things? Yeah, go ahead.
Make content you want to see, for starters. Like you're going to enjoy it if it's content that you want to see, and make content that people want to see. Like try and make interesting matches and everything. Like or do something unique, honestly. Like if you want to stand out as a content organizer, try and get unique matches going or something like that, or even just with your favorite players or other people's favorite players or something like that. It'll go a long way as far as getting people to recognize your events.
I think No Regrets a great example of this, with things like the anonymous tournament and some of like the weird ideas he comes up with. Base Tree TV does like weird tournament ideas every once in a while. Every once in a while, there's just like, I don't know, like the Pizza Pie Week. Like, who comes up with that? Like that, and that's like a niche, right? So you can find your own thing, or I mean, you guys have way more tournament organizing experience. I think another thing that he asked about was pitfalls. Are there any things that you like wish that you could tell yourself when you were starting out?
Well, I would say definitely when you're starting out, like set realistic expectations. Like, don't try to overwork yourself. Like, don't try to go too big in the beginning. Like, I would suggest start small and then grow from there.
Yeah, exactly. But to also don't like undersell yourself. Like when I started out, I was like afraid to talk to players or anything like that. I was just like, oh man, like, are these guys even going to want to touch my tournament? Just ask every player out there. It's like, do you want to play in this tournament? Because chances are some very, very good ones will, just at any point. So yeah, just don't be afraid just to go ask whoever, because Like it took me like tons and tons of events before I even thought of really getting really into like the Korean scene and then really to the peak players or anything like that. So yeah, ask whoever you want.
Yeah, really good advice there, I think. And the worst thing they can say is no thanks or I'm busy, and that's not a slight on you. So yeah, go for it. All right, thank you for the question. Alessandro, our very own, asks, who are the up-and-coming players? Korea, EU, NA, LATAM, C, Russia, Mongolia, Africa, Antarctica, sentient vegetable that people don't know much, but you are looking at to go big in the next 1 to 3 years. Are there any any players that you guys are looking at and saying, you know what, this guy has some potential here?
I mean, the ones that I mentioned when we were initially talking about the Legacy Weekly Japan tournament, Japan has always like fascinated me because Korea might have like kind of originated a lot of the early esports infrastructure, but Japan and like just competitions, like it's so crazy there. Like they have the best women's hot dog eating champion in the world for 11 years. Okay, like I don't make this stuff. Well, I do make a lot of this stuff up, but like the idea is that they're just like super good. And for video games, maybe PC gaming is not the thing, but like fighting games, card games, like they're just so cool. And I love seeing Starcraft being embraced by such a cool community. So for up and comers, I would say like this Noticon guy who does really well and is starting to be like the top Japanese player. What you're seeing is like esports in a microcosm. And in some of these huge like North America or Europe or Asia or wherever, it's really easy to like miss out on like the really cool storylines, but you get to watch esports all over again from a very fledgling perspective, and things like these Vietnamese tournaments that were advertised earlier, a lot of these smaller like LATAM tournaments, this Legacy Weekly Japanese tournament, you can kind of really see these cool storylines that you might not get in some of these more established leagues.
Okay. LaughNgamez, you do a pretty wide range of players overall, from lower level pros or high level amateurs all the way up to the top pros. Are there any that you kind of have your eye on as ones that are really improving lately?
There's some players who like it's just a matter of time, right? But then it seems like we're still waiting and waiting and waiting. Like my go-to as far as who I want to see have a big tournament run and deserves a big one, I think, is Soul. The Polish Terran player. Like he's
very well respected player.
Yeah, very, very well respected. And he's becoming a little bit more popular after like having some crazy games and whatnot in WCS. Then as Rapid said, it really just goes as far as looking into like the scenes. Like if you're just someone who like spends some time on Liquipedia or whatever, like just looking at like a tournament bracket, like check the sidebar or something, like you might see like a player who had like a pretty darn good run. You'll be like, wait, he beat who? And there's quite a few players out there in like the smaller scenes and everything that are just making runs, like having really good results and everything. And yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Well, as a NA guy, I got to plug in my NA buddies.
Yeah, totally.
So I would say, the two players who we should look out for most in NA is Future and Estrella.
Oh yeah.
Like they've been doing very well this year. Like Estrella, like he had a very hot start to 2019 with his, I think it was top 6 placement in WCS in winter. And then after that, like in Montreal, he finished top 16. So that's really sick. And like I've talked to him, like, and I know that he, wants to keep going next year. And like he's very motivated to practice. So like I'm very sure he's going to do well in 2020 as well.
Is Estrella a student or is he full time?
I think
I think he's full time for a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
He's in Korea at the moment.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah. He actually made it to the very finals of the Super tournament qualifier.
One.
Yeah.
Wait,
this Super tournament qualifier he just played, and he beat Sue in it, and then I believe Sue came back and beat him in the final match.
Yeah.
The very final match for the last spot.
It was actually very
that's
unfortunate.
Because that's how he lost in the first Super Tournament qualifier too. He was one game away, and Parting beat him to qualify.
Oh man.
Well, the thing with the Super
on the brink.
Yeah. The thing with the Super Tournament qualifiers is that they're all like each series is played on the same maps. So Estrella said that he used all his builds for Sue in their first series, and then when they had the rematch, it was on the same maps, but he already used his builds.
Damn.
Yeah.
Totally.
That sucks.
So if he
Crazy.
just had a couple more builds, he probably would have made it.
Well, definitely, he definitely is up and coming right now. He won that spot for the Australian tournament too. So cheers to him. All right, thank you for the question, Alessander. Michael Howard asks, why can't the engineering bay fly in StarCraft 2? And what is being done to get Blizzard to finally make this happen? I feel there is a silent majority too afraid to speak out about this. But I think we need to have this issue out in the public forum.
Yeah, you're just
Michael,
saying
you
what we're
are
all
so
thinking.
brave. You are so brave to finally bring this up. And now that you've done this, I can finally go on the record and say, yes, the eBay should fly.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Yeah, the CIA sweeps the internet for people suggesting flying eBays and cleanses the comments.
Like, we're never gonna see this guy again. Like,
I'm sorry. You lived a good life up until now, but now you gotta go.
Can we get an F in chat?
I mean, why does Terra need another flying building? Like, don't they have enough flying buildings already?
I think all their buildings should fly. You should just be able to stack all your depots in the corner. That's what I think.
Even the depots. Oh god.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Flying depots.
The flying bunker is the real key. Okay, just like 20 flying bunkers going towards your opponent. He's like, oh my god, no!
Flying PF. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh my god.
The late game. Oh
yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Now that would be a great RTS right there. All right. Thank
Sounds
you.
like Grey Goo all over again.
Yes, it would be. All right. From GG Emini 19. I couldn't think of a question, so I'm going to say you're all wrong, and Trap is going to smash the GSL finals. Thanks.
Oh, really nice to see a true unbiased opinion.
Is he going to smash the GSL finals just like he smashed that Alima League where he got 2-0'd by Dream, or in a different way?
He's going to smash the GSL finals just like GG Emini wishes he... Never mind.
I'm going to be so excited to check Twitter after he loses. It's just going to be fantastic.
Oh, this is the emotional roller coaster of the E-Mini clan, is to watch Trap ascend.
Well, it's GG clan.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
he's E-Mini of the GG.
Right, he's the 19th of his kind. His father before him was GG E-Mini 18. And thus for eons and generations, they're like the Illuminati of players that are almost good enough to win but can't.
It's pretty crazy. You can trace yourself back to the very first GG E-Mini. Okay. Thank you for that statement, I guess, not question. NeosteelEnthusiast asks, and our final question, if you had to cast a different game, what would you want to cast and why? And it doesn't have to be cast, it can also be...
It's a trick question.
He's definitely trying to get us.
Yeah. StarCraft 3. Killed it.
Nailed that.
Wrecked. I mean, I already cast like a million different games because I think for me, I'm kind of in love with the concept of esports, like, dope people doing dope stuff. So I really just appreciate that wherever it is. And I would say it lends itself to more, like to some esports more than others. But for StarCraft, like 1v1, just like anything, especially if it has like an established scene, it's just like so sick to watch. So, I mean, like I said, I watched Vietnamese Age of Empires tournaments because like these are some of the best players in the world. It's just anytime I can watch somebody doing something amazing and I don't have to understand the game. I just point at it. I'm like, that thing is that's the thing. Like that's really sick, really cool. I'm more of a generalist than an elitist, but don't tell people that like Brood War.
All right. Laughing Games. If you had to do and it doesn't have to just be cast, like if you had to run tournaments in another one or whatever.
Cast or run tournaments in another, it would have to be a new game or something that's not out because like I know nothing really about any other game scene. So I'd have to like go into a hole for like years to learn a game before I feel confident to organize it. But if it's something new, maybe I could hop on that and just like have a run because then everyone would be fresh at it. But I don't see myself leaving. Maybe Brood War. I've never actually cast a game of Brood War and I know nothing about it really. So that would be like a guy stumbling through the woods at night just trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, in truth, that's everybody, but
Yeah. All right. And Sugar, what about you?
I would probably organize tournaments for Age of Mythology. Honestly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That was my very first RTS. Like, I just love the game so much.
Oh, that's a cool game.
Yeah. I love the god powers. Yeah.
Good answers.
So stupid.
Okay. For me, I mean, other than RTS games, I like fighting games probably next most. So probably fighting games of some sort. My personal favorites are Street Fighters, especially 4. That was the greatest. Yeah, so probably a fighting game. Really enjoy those. All right. Thank you to everyone for those Patreon questions. As we go to the end of the show, I just want to say a big thanks to our sponsors once again, afkt.com, matcherino.com/The Pylon Show. You can check it out there and use the code LOBSTER to give us free monies to fund the show. Thank you for that. Of course, buy any of that swag. We also have our Patreon, and a big, gigantic thanks to our Patreon nerds that support us so heavily and for so long. That is patreon.com/The Pylon Show. Definitely check that out. That's the way to really support the show if you enjoy it and you like it. So thank you to all of them. And of course, we have thepylonshow.com. That's our website if you need to check any VODs or anything like that. And yeah, that's big thanks to our Pylon Show staff, everyone that has helped out to make the show what it is. And yeah, so that's about that. So guys, why don't you tell me, what are you up to? Where can people find more of you? Any closing words for all of you? So Sugar, let's start with you.
So, as a closing words, thank you for having me on the show. It's a huge honor. And I'm just glad that people know more about the NA Apprentice now. So hopefully you guys will check it out. If you want to know more about the NA Apprentice, you can check out my Twitter at SugarSC2 or at SportsTeamG. Also, big shout out to Alpha X, my team. You can follow them on Twitter, Twitch, and Africa at AlphaXSC2.
Cool. All right. And how about you, LaughNgamez?
Yeah, I just also want to say big thanks for having me on here. I've watched the show a long time, and you guys have been really great with helping get the word out for new content and everything out. So it's been really awesome to be on here, and it's a wonderful show. And you guys can find me if you enjoy my content. I mean, I spam it all over Reddit and everywhere already, but if you haven't been able to see anything I do before, you can find me on YouTube. That's really the main thing I'm pushing at the moment, trying to do a video a day, and I'm sticking to that pretty well with VODs and everything. And then also I'm streaming a bit on Twitch lately, just no promises or anything like that, but I'm trying to get into shape for the NA contender and a local LAN tournament, so I'm streaming that.
Cool. Very nice. And Rapid, how about you?
Well, thanks for having me on once again, Artosis. It's been a pleasure as always, and a big thanks to everybody else for watching, because in the end, we couldn't do this without all of you guys. If you want to see more of me, then you can do that by following me on Twitter, twitter.com/RAPiDCasting, Instagram.com/RAPiDCasting, Facebook.com/RAPiDCasting, Grindr.com/RAPiDCasting, GeoCities, Lycos.com/RAPiDCasting. You can use my Uber referral code RAPiDCasting. Everywhere you want to find me, I'm out there. So use your Google search choice.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like some of my stuff. The more hearts and likes and stuff gives you absolutely no reward, but it makes me money sometimes. So go out there and help me out.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys all for coming on. It's been an excellent show. Again, big thanks to our big supporters of the Pylon Show, especially Astrofin, Manard, and Rohit Sanbadi. Thanks, guys, and thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll be back again next week with the Pylon Show. We'll see you then.
Shout out to the Pylon Show, the greatest show on the internet.